Hey Driscolls, welcome to another tutorial on time for our game that we're making. In this tutorial we're going to be focusing on the game clock, so that's this area here where my mouse is just hovering over. You'll see what this looks like when I press the start button. We've got some milliseconds here, we've got some seconds ticking over, and some minutes there. So we're going to get this little this clock functioning. So let's get started. If you haven't already, I'd like you to go ahead and log in to your Scratch account and head to your project. I'm assuming you've already done that. So once you're there, I'd like you to click on the stage backdrop, and we're actually going to set our clock up in the stage. So I reckon your project looks something similar to this, because this is my test project for Red Nostril. So what I would like you to go ahead and do is this. First of all, we will set up our milliseconds. So when you receive the start game event, which is when this button is clicked, I'll show you that there. So start, when the sprite is clicked, start game, and then our stage will be listening to that. So I would like you to go ahead and find the forever block, and you're going to pop that in there. So we're going to do something forever. Alright, so what are we going to do forever? Well, we're going to wait a millisecond, and then we're going to change the milliseconds by 10. So let's go back into the control, and you're going to get this wait block, and you're going to change that. We're not going to wait 1 second. We need to divide that by 10 to get 1/10 of a second. So when we divide by 10, we get 0.1 of a second, or 1/10, which is like that, okay, which is a millisecond. Sorry, millisecond, not quite, 10 milliseconds. So when we wait a millisecond, we want to then, 10 milliseconds, we then want to update our milliseconds by 10. So let's do that. Let's go over to our change block, so that's in data, and get the change block here. And you want to be changing the game milliseconds not by 1, but by 10, because we've got 1/10 of a second, and that's equal to 10 milliseconds. Okay, so if we just test that out and press start, you can see our milliseconds are counting up there. But there's a problem. It just keeps counting and getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Alright, okay, so we need to change, we need to log when 1 second happens in this game. So to do that, you'll need to go over to your control and get an if statement. So this basically means, so if some condition is met, then we're going to do some business. Alright, so what is our condition? When I was making this, it was getting a little bit buggy if I was setting it exactly to 100 milliseconds, because that is what 1 second is equal to. So we're just going to give a greater than symbol to account for any number that is greater than 90. Okay, so it'll hit 90, and then it'll get to the next one. When it becomes bigger, it will activate this if statement. So if our game milliseconds is greater than 90, we want to set our game milliseconds back to 0. Alright, so let's just have a look at that. Look at that, perfect. So now each time we get up to just over 90, so 100 milliseconds, that will register a second. Okay, so we need to actually do that. We need to broadcast that event. So we've got this event here, when I receive add second. We've got an event. Let's actually now broadcast that event when it happens. So add second. So now what will happen is, if game milliseconds is greater than 90, we'll set it back to 0, and we're going to broadcast add second. So we go over here, and when we broadcast add second, we need to change the game seconds by 1. There we go. Cool. So let's just have a look at that. Start. Perfect. Now our game clock is actually ticking away. So we've got a bit of a manual clock here. So that's pretty neat. Okay, so essentially we need to do the same thing when we get to a number of minutes. I might actually just speed up what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it, but we'll just directly fast forward to it. I encourage you to pause the video though and have a go at doing it yourself before you actually just see what I go ahead and do. Okay, so as you'll see, I've gone in and added my code here. So I've changed the game seconds by 1. We've got another if statement. If game seconds equals 60, seconds happen a little bit slower, so that'll be fine for this case. We're going to set the game seconds back to 0, and we're going to add a minute because there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. And you'll see also that I have added in my change code. So let's just test that out, and I'll fast forward the video so you can see it directly happening when this gets to 59 seconds. Okay, we're in the final 5 seconds now, so as you can see, 56, 57, 58, 59, and 1 minute. There we go. So 1 minute and 2 seconds, and so on and so forth. That's going to be all for this particular video. I will catch you in the next one, where we will, once we finish the game, we need to transfer whatever time is here to the player 1 clock. So I'll catch you in that video.